When I got married when I was 25 years old, I discovered golf because my husband is a golfer. And so for the 10 years that I was doing interior design, I was working on my golf game, but also at the same time realized how ugly golf clothes were. And I kept saying, why can't somebody make golf clothes that are attractive? I mean, there are attractive sports clothes for all other sports. Why ugly golf clothes? So I started on my own time in my design studio, just designing some golf clothes, some different outfits, tops and bottoms and jackets and slacks, things like that. And I did that for about a year. So my husband says to me one day, he said, why don't you do something with this? Why don't you just stop talking about it and do it? So I thought about it and said, okay, take me to the bank. Let's get a loan and let's see what I can do with this. Realizing an opportunity is the key. For me to get into golf sportswear, I just realized a need. As I was learning how to play golf and I'm looking at the offering in the golf shop, I'm just shocked at how unattractive some of these clothes were. I mean, they had, for women, they had little embroidered golf skirts with golf carts on them. And that's not for everybody. I mean, women want to be attractive. They want to be able to leave the golf course and go have lunch with their girlfriends and not change their clothes before they go out to have lunch. And that's what was happening. So I realized a need. For me, I think the confidence that I gained going to Michigan State University and the ability to realize an opportunity when one is flying by me, because oftentimes they do fly by and you've got to grab them as they go by, not be afraid to take the chance. I think to be able to create something that is something that the consumer wants is a pretty special opportunity. And Michigan State really helped me gain the tools to be able to do that.
Let's go for a walk.
What I wanted to do was create something that was more feminine just for women. So it started out just women's, and I did that for about 2 years. I called it Sundays, Daze. And then after the 2 years, I started to expand everything. I expanded my distribution. I started out with 4 sales reps across the United States, and at some point I got about 12. And then I thought, well, now that this is fairly successful, I think we should go into the men's market. So I started a men's line that we called Sport Haley. And for another 2 years, we did Sport Haley men's and women's. And in 1992, we took the company public, which was a real exciting, unbelievable experience. When I finally left Sport Haley, I went out to Carmel, to the Mission Ranch that Clint Eastwood owns. And we went out for a tennis tournament, my husband and I did. And during that 4 days, I had an opportunity to meet Clint and talk to him. One evening we were in the Mission Ranch bar, and he was telling me about how much he loves golf. And during that time, he's asking me, well, what are you going to do now that you're retired? And I said to him, well, I don't know. I just don't want to work that hard. That was a lot of work for the last 10 years. I'd definitely like to do something, but I'm not sure what I want to do. And he says, well, come on, you seem like the kind of person that can't be retired. I'm sure there's something you want to do. And I'm thinking, okay, that's an opportunity, as crazy as it sounds, to sit there and ask, Clint, would you like to go into business with me? He was setting me up for that question. So I just looked at him and said, why are you asking? Would you like to do clothing for golf with me? And I was really kind of kidding. It wasn't like a serious conversation. And he just looked me right in the eye and he said, we could call it Tehama. So I thought, oh my gosh, there was this pause as the blood rushed out of my head, and I had to recompose. And as I looked over at him, he was turning and walking away. And this friend of ours who was standing next to us, I looked at him and I said, is he serious? Because that wasn't what I expected. And he said, I think so.
Hey, guys, come with me. Come on, Beanie. Come on. Let's go.
I think there's a karma And the fact that I ended up being Clint Eastwood's business partner is lucky, but you have to put yourself out there. I mean, it's not going to come to you if you're hiding under a rock. So if you put yourself out there, these opportunities are more and more and more, and then something like that happens, and who would ever guess that Clint Eastwood would have asked me if I would go into business with him. We did $7.5 million in sales our very first year, which is like unheard of in that industry. And we worked together for 10 years. We built it up, adding brands to the Tehama label. We added an Arnold Palmer license. So I was able to meet Arnold Palmer and work with him on clothing that we targeted just the department stores. And then we added the Izod license. Izod is owned by Phillips Van Heusen Corporation. And we did a license with them to do Izod G. The G is for golf. So with 3 brands in our stable, we were able to build the brand up to almost $50 million in sales by 2007. I'm a real challenge taker. I think that's what helps me get up in the morning. It's almost like a natural drug. You know, when somebody gives me a challenge and maybe things at work are going great and then they get a little bit too easy, and I thrive on that challenge. And I'm not saying that every challenge that I've gone after has been successful or that I've been able to get it. I mean, you've got to fight for what you want. It wouldn't be fun if you didn't fight for what you want. Going back to my mom and dad, they used to say, hey, nobody's going to toot your horn for you. You have to toot it. So that's the premise of marketing, is how do you get it out there? Once you create a product and you get the accolades from the customer, you start getting the confidence. And then once you get confidence, you start pushing the envelope. Well, if I can do this, I can probably take this to the next step. And then you start doing some things that are things you never thought of, that just, again, you're constantly realizing opportunities as you're going along. Even as the CEO of a business, you have to be changing constantly. Otherwise, you get stale and nobody wants you anymore. You only get one go around in life, and if you don't do what you love, then you've missed another opportunity. Not everybody can do everything that they love. I certainly never loved everything I did, but I was always working toward that. And now that I've worked so hard for the last 23 years building these 2 businesses, it's really enjoyable for me to take advantage of the things that I do love. What was fun for me when I was young was my art. And I pretty much gave up fine art, painting and drawing and sculpture, jewelry, any of those things that I enjoyed when I was young, to run a business. Now, running the business was a different form of art because we had a design department. I designed sportswear and clothing. Marketing is a huge art. I think marketing is like art. And that was another minor I had at Michigan State University, was marketing. So I've been able to utilize all of the tools that I gained at the university to build this business. But during that time, I felt too pressured with the business, day-to-day running a business, decisions you have to make. You've got investors and stockholders and all that. So that the creative part of me was kind of stifled as far as my fine art. So when I finally did retire, it took me about a year to settle down, because it's been about a year and a half now, and figure out exactly what I wanted to do. So I skied a little bit, played a lot of golf, traveled, and when I retired, I bought a bunch of art supplies, but I just let them sit there. I stared at them every day, and I think I was a little bit afraid that once I got into it, maybe I wouldn't be very good, or as good as I thought I used to be. So I finally picked up the brushes in January and started painting. And to my pleasant surprise, I was pretty happy with what came out of me creatively. Now, to be able to enjoy my painting and maybe make a business out of that, which is something that I would like to do. This isn't something that I'm doing as a hobby. It's just not my personality. So I am so grateful that I've learned all the things that I've learned through these past 23 years that will help me be successful in my next career and maybe my next one. Who knows?